every day. Makes me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I've got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
You know, we need them, don't we? We need those strategies for living. So are you ready? You ready for your daily dose?
Let me tell you, I
radio
am
rehab. Yeah,
so
I knew you'd
ready
be. Yeah, I knew
today.
you'd be ready today. Hey, folks, welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living Radio. I'm Dr. David McMillian. She is psychotherapist Lauren Leon McMillian, and I too am beside myself because of our life strategist
Well,
today.
it's one of my favorite people and a true life strategist.
Both of our life strategists are
Absolutely.
definitely true life strategists. One of them, I go back. I'm sitting in my 8th grade classroom at Christ the King Catholic school, and this young priest comes in.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, he's playing a Johnny Cash song.
Man in Black.
Man in Black.
That's right.
He's out, Bishop Greco had him out recruiting.
Sure.
And then, so obviously, who am I talking about? I'm talking about Monsignor Earl
I go back, I
Provenza.
think, even farther, because that same fella threw water on me when I was only a couple months old.
Yeah. I think he's done that to a few people.
Yeah.
And then for years, I read, of course, I'm an ardent reader of the Shreveport Times, and so I got to read Mary Ann Van Osdell lots in the Shreveport Times through the years. So both of them are with us today here on Strategies for Living. They're our life strategists, and you know why?
Why is that?
Because they've teamed up and they have a book. It's called Busy for the Lord.
And it is
the life story of Monsignor Earl Vincent Provenza. And there's a story there, too.
Oh, of course.
there's stories.
Within stories.
There's
within
stories behind stories. And we are all in for a treat.
It's such a treasure to have both of them.
It really is. And I tell you, we are going to learn some things. Not only are we going to learn some things today, we are going to get some, I think we could say, spiritual truths, for all of us. And that's what's on tap today here on Strategies for Living.
Wait.
Folks, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. And we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX, and the Balanced Life Wellness Center, and Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, alligator Italian sausage, and some pretty good muffies, too. Back in a moment with Monsignor Earl Provenza and Mary Ann Van Osdell, our life strategist today, here on Strategies for Living. Come back with us.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem drab. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome in to Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. Let's welcome into the program now. Well, I've been reading her for a long time. And as a journalist, you are supposed to stay you're supposed to stay. What am I trying to say?
Non-biased.
Non-biased. But I really think that when you became religion editor back a while, it's been a minute or two.
It's been a while.
You maybe let go of some of your bias.
For this book, what's funny about this book is he would tell me a story and he'd say, "That's the truth." And I'm like, well, why would a priest lie to me?
well. Mary Ann Van Osdell, welcome to Strategies
Thanks
for Living.
for having
How many
us.
years were you with the Times?
14.
Wow. And among your other assignments, you for a little while were the religion editor.
Well,
right?
I wrote about religion and medicine and Bossier City. You know, they switch you around to different beats. So
Right,
It's
right.
a wide range of things.
And our other live strategist, I mean, how can I even begin to introduce? I mean, it would take an hour to introduce
Yes.
him. But let me just say that he's been a priest for a lot of years, over 60 years. He's a Monsignor. He's made a Monsignor in the Catholic Church in 1989 by Bishop Friend. He's been the Knights of Columbus camp director. He's been a firefighter. He's been a barber. He's been a chauffeur. He's been a cook. And he's quite a cook. Monsignor Earl Provenza, welcome back to Strategies for Living.
Dr. David, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm doing good. I'm doing very well. And I'm doing very well, especially because you guys are here.
Well, you're wonderful. You've been a long friend for many, many years. Both Lauren as well. You know.
We go back a ways.
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, Mary Ann, let me ask you, how did all of this start? How did this begin? Because the book is Busy for the Lord. And let me say right up front, there are places in town that you can get it.
Correct.
Let's talk about that. One of the places is...
It started at Grace and Mercy Gifts
Okay.
on 9 Avenue.
All right.
I worked there briefly, and he came in every Friday. He just liked coming in. It's a Catholic store, basically.
Right.
And he started telling stories.
Yeah.
And I'd say, "That's really good. Tell me another one." And this went on for 6 months.
Okay, so
yeah.
this started with storytelling.
He just would come and tell a story, and I was fascinated. I like stories, obviously, and things to write about. And suddenly we had enough for a book. And I said,
Wow.
I want to write your book.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
All right, I love it. And you know, one of the things, Monsignor, I know you have been asked multiple times, probably for years and years, when are you going to write a book?
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
Many people have asked me that.
And so, what does it feel like now?
Awesome.
Yeah.
I never dreamed that my stories would be so demanding and people would want to buy it.
Oh my goodness!
Well,
People are falling over themselves
They
wherever
are.
you guys go.
I can't help but think, Father's Day is right around the
Correct.
corner, right? And how much of a wonderful, caring, loving father you have been to all of us, right? And I couldn't think of a more important gift. I mean, all of us want the stories of the people that we came from and that we love.
Yeah.
And so what you've done, both of you together, is given the community a great gift of, these stories. I mean, we've heard a lot of them if you know Monsignor Earl, but there are a lot I didn't know. And I'm so thankful to have them in print,
Yeah.
and
Well,
be
thank
able to
you.
have them and hold them.
Thank you.
You know, guys, it's one thing, and Monsignor, Mary Ann, it's one thing to, we've heard variations. If you, I was a longtime parishioner, still am a parishioner at Holy Trinity Catholic Church, but Monsignor was there for many years and was my pastor. So I've heard bits and pieces of many of these stories.
Right.
I've heard the story of the Coca-Cola and the meatball given to the mom took it out of the refrigerator and gave it to the hobo and Earl saying, "Mom, who was that?" That was Jesus.
That's right. Yeah.
And you went out and took a look, right?
I had to. It's my first lesson, who Jesus is. He lives in people.
Right.
And this hobo was very nice and polite and asked for my mother for a little food. He was been on the train for 3 days and
Right.
was hungry. And
Your family lived in Allendale, and in fact, one day you took me to where the house was.
Right.
You showed me where the house was, And train was fairly close, came by fairly close, right?
Right, it was behind us. And the train would come by, and sometimes it would stop, and hobos would get off
Right,
and hit our neighborhood,
right,
and we would give them food.
right,
That's my mother told me that Jesus lives in those kind of people.
right. Now, and she happened to grab your meatball
Oh, yeah.
and your Coca-Cola, which were prized possessions back when you were a little guy.
Put this in perspective. There's 11 children,
Right.
and if you didn't mark your Coca-Colas or meatballs, you might not get them. So I marked my 2 meatballs. They were mine.
They were your meatballs.
And my Coca-
And your mama, you've always said your mama had good meatball making hands.
Right. Well, she'd make meatballs for St. Mary's Elementary School, and she had big hands, and so her meatballs were big.
Right.
But those 2, been cooking in that red sauce, tomato sauce, for a long time, they were mine. And I was hoping to eat them.
Right.
But my mother changed my mind on that.
Now, by the way, Mary Ann, you got his recipe.
We did.
You
get
got his recipe
so he
out of it.
learned how to do it.
I've been trying to get that recipe for years. I was so excited when I got to the page that Monsignor's
worth buying
spaghetti
for
sauce.
that alone.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I don't know that you got a lot of other. He's quite a chef. If you know him,
There is a chapter about that.
yeah,
Right.
He's quite a chef. But the full recipe of his spaghetti sauce,
Right.
I guess it would be Mama Rosa's
Right.
spaghetti sauce, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and maybe one day you'll when you slow down a little bit,
Right.
you'll bottle it up and send it all over the country, right?
Right.
Yeah. The title, "Busy for the Lord." Did you come up with that, or did he come up with
Monsignor
it?
came up with that. I'd say, stay a little longer, tell me another story. And he'd always say, I've got to run. I'm busy for the Lord. And there it was.
That's it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Monsignor, do you recall, and I know as a little guy, you went to St. Mary's Elementary School, which back in the day
Right.
sat right next to Holy Trinity Catholic Church downtown. It is now a parking lot, but it was an elementary school run by the Daughters of the Cross when you were a little guy. Do you remember the first time that you thought, I think I might want to be a priest? Do you remember how early
Yes.
that was?
I was serving Mass a very cold day, and Monsignor Plochet was the pastor.
Right,
And he told me I could keep my jacket on. Believe me, in those days, that was an honor.
right,
Yeah.
You had to wear your cassock and circlet.
right,
But it was so cold in church, he said, wear your jacket. Then after Mass, he said, patted me on the head. He said, you'd make a good priest. And, I was so young. It was so far away, but
right. How old were you at that point? Maybe second grade, third grade?
second, third grade.
Second or third grade, okay. And that planted the seed.
Right.
Mm.
It'd be good to be a priest. God calls me.
Right, right,
Then when I made that decision, I went to my daddy and mother, and I said, Mama, I need to talk to you.
right.
I said, I want to be a priest. She says, what do you need? Well, this is very crucial. In a family of 11 children, need and want are 2 different things.
Right.
Many times I wanted another pair of tennis shoes.
Right,
I didn't need it. So
right,
she said, Earl, what do you need? I said, I need one black cassock that I would wear in the seminary.
right.
And my mother said, I'm going to get you 2. I said, Mama, I only need 1. She said, I'm giving you a black one for your priesthood. And when you become a pope, you already have your white one. So that was, talk about support. Then I went to my daddy. I said, Daddy, I'm thinking about becoming a priest. Well, son, sit yourself down. And I expected, truly, 50 rules.
Right.
Because my daddy has 11 children, and we had a lot of rules to follow.
Sure.
And he said, Earl, if you're going to be a priest, remember one thing. Be kind to people. I said, what else, Daddy? He said, that's enough. If you're kind, it's like a domino effect. Everything else fits in. That was from my father.
Wow.
And you can see that in your ministry.
Yeah.
We're so grateful.
It shines. We all have to be grateful to Mr. Joe.
Yep.
For that conversation that he had with you, because kindness has been a hallmark of your priesthood.
Thank you.
And
I try to live up to my daddy, Christ's command. Be kind to people.
Your daddy was a businessman.
He was.
And back in the day, made mattresses for people.
Sure did.
Yeah.
And all the motels and hotels, they wanted, the mattresses refurbished. But what really put my daddy on the map was during polio season.
Right. People would want their mattresses sterilized.
And I asked him one day, I said, Daddy, why don't you advertise? I don't need to. You produce a good product and the word spreads. And so my daddy never advertised, but he had a very successful business.
We are talking to Mary Ann Van Osdell, and we're talking to Monsignor Earl Provenza today. The book that we're talking about, and it's finally out.
Yes.
Finally, the life story of Monsignor Earl Vincent Provenza. Got a story there, too. Busy for the Lord is what it's called. We're going to come back, and we'll remind people where to get the book. And then we have a little surprise for Monsignor Earl and for Mary Ann when we come back here on Strategies for Living. Just a little bitty surprise. Back in a moment here on Strategies. You're going to see the difference. When you go to Azalea Cleaners, you'll hear about it too. Azalea Cleaners has been fine dry cleaning since 1958, plus laundry, alterations and repairs, comforters, wedding gown cleaning and restoration. You'll hear about it from your friends because they'll see it too. They'll notice the Azalea difference. Azalea is convenient. 732 Azalea Drive, 9220 Ellerby Road, and 9227 Mansfield Road. Plus, the front door of your home or business with Azalea's delivery on demand. Just text SETUP to 249-8283, and Azalea will pick up your clothes and deliver them back clean and fresh to you. You can't get closer than that. That's the Azalea difference. You'll notice it right away. Others will too. The Azalea difference. Fine dry cleaning since 1958. Text SETUP to 249-8283 and get the Azalea difference. AzaleaCleaners.com.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
Facing the same old problems day to day makes you wanna holler, get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there. Looking for hope and peace to spare. Looking for strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
And welcome back into Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian, Monsignor Earl Provenza, and Mary Ann Van Osdell, our life strategists today. They are the authors A busy for the Lord. It's the story of Monsignor Earl Provenza, and you can get it at Grace and Mercy Catholic Gifts. That's 6425 Lion Avenue. It's the old Stephen Miller Jewelry. It's right next door to Superior Grill. It's on the corner of Lion Avenue and Oak Hill. So easy to find. You can also go to St. John's Cathedral, St. John Berkman's Cathedral on Jordan. And during office hours, stop in the office and you can pick up a copy there. If you're in Bossier, go see Donnie Tubbs Hardware. And let's sell out. Let's sell out of all of these places. So Mary Ann and Monsignor have to order more and more. We need a second, a third, a fourth printing.
We already have.
There you go. Okay, so Monsignor, you and I have known each other for a long time. And Lauren and I have a little hobby that you don't know about, okay? And it's just a little hobby. We like to write songs. And so what we've done is we've written, your book, y'all's book inspired a song. And so I'd like to share it with you. May I do that?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to debut
Busy for the Lord.
Busy for the Lord.
Stop it.
He came out of Allendale from a family filled with love. Early on he knew he had a calling from above. Busy for the Lord. Earl knew from the start, led by a hopeful optimism that comes straight from the heart. On the day Earl told his daddy, I want to be a priest, Mr. Joe said, sit down, Earl. Be kind to all and especially to the least. And then Mama Rosa said, all full of hope, here's 3 cassocks, 2 black and 1 white, for the day that you become Pope. Busy for the Lord. Earl knew from the start, led by a hopeful optimism that comes straight from the heart. Be it firefighting, barbering, or cooking on the grill, Earl brings the love of Jesus for all to get their fill. Baptized at Holy Trinity on a cold Christmas day. Who could know that little Earl would use that font one day? Busy for the Lord. Earl knew from the start, led by a hopeful optimism that comes straight from the heart. Ordained in 1964, Earl got busy right away. Bishop Greco called him up, said, my boy, go here without delay. Father Earl would go, and he would serve from north to south, and from the east to the west. No matter where sent, he brought the healing and the sacraments. Busy for the Lord. From the start, led by a hopeful optimism that comes straight from the heart.
25 years in, made a Monsignor in 89. Bishop friend said, Earl, I need you again. Our cathedral needs work and some love and care. Earl made it a place where God's love could be shared. He works and he works from dawn into night to bring God through and shine a bright light. A light this world needs more and more every day. So busy is how Earl intends to stay. Busy, busy for the Lord. Earl knew from the start, led by a hopeful optimism that comes straight from the heart.
That is the debut of Busy, Busy for the Lord right here on the radio.
Thank you. First time in my life I had a song written about me.
Well, you've had a book. You've had a book written about
And
you.
now a song.
And Lauren and I said, well,
Yeah.
he's got to have a song too.
Oh, that is gorgeous. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so touched for him.
It's just a little hobby that we
Yeah,
do
we
on the
enjoy
side.
Y'all need to go pro.
And no,
No.
but we had fun doing it.
Yeah.
We
Thank y'all very
there's the initial notes, and we passed it back and forth, and Lauren would say, no, this has to go here, and no, this has to be changed here. So
I didn't do too much, but yeah.
we were busy for Mary Ann and Monsignor.
Right.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So we tried to, after reading the book, and I got to tell you folks, Busy for the Lord. It's a small book, but it was hard for me to put down.
Yeah.
So it's good that it was a small. Y'all kept it a fairly small book, Mary Ann, because I could not put. I had to read it. In fact, Lauren came in and said, "I've got to go." I think she was going to the office to see somebody. She said, "Do you want to go with me?" I said, "No, I'm staying right here, finishing this book."
Yeah.
That's
That's
how
what
engaging.
people are saying.
That's how engaging these
One
stories
lady told
are.
me she inhaled it.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, that story I alluded to in the book, my boy go here right away. That actually happened. You were ordained with 5 other individuals in Alexandria by Bishop Greco, and usually after finishing the seminary and getting ordained, you get a couple 3 weeks off,
1 month.
1 month off. So you're relaxing, and you get a phone call. Yeah. And what did Bishop Greco say to you?
My boy.
My boy.
I know that you enjoying your priesthood. You want to get to work. I need a help over at Jesus Good Shepherd in Monroe. I said, Bishop, I'll be happy to go next month. He said, tomorrow. I'd like for you to go. And I said, yes, Bishop. I promise obedience.
Right.
I will go there.
Right. And you went, and pretty much the priest that was there had a family emergency. He had to go.
The day I opened the door, the phone rang. And he says, oh, my God, really? And he turned to me and said, my uncle just died with a heart attack in New Orleans. I'm leaving right now.
Wow.
So he walked out of the rectory. I had no keys to the church. I didn't know where the confessional was. I didn't know where my bedroom was. It was told me to call the housekeeper, and she would help me. Miss Daisy.
Could we say baptism by fire?
Right. Yeah. So
I love it. I love it. Now, one of the things that a priest does is give the sacraments.
Correct.
Right? And so baptism, reconciliation, of course you say Mass and consecrate the Eucharist for Holy Communion. Marriage. Of course, the sacrament of the sick. A bishop ordains, so you don't do that.
No.
But you can confirm on occasion with the permission of a bishop. But there's a story in the book of one day you did You did 5 at one in one day. That's unusual.
Very unusual.
Yeah.
It was. I was baptized in the Spirit that day.
I bet you were.
Where I was in Monroe, there was a curtain. Those days, a curtain in front of the priest. And a lady fell into the curtain.
Right.
And I had to go anoint her. I thought she was having a heart attack.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I anointed her. So I did the Eucharist. I did a wedding that day. And I did anointing.
Right.
Communion. So 5 sacraments in one day in one church.
Wow. Mary Ann, listening to the stories, of course, you're an experienced journalist, and you learn
like you did.
you learn how to. Did you have a hard time sometimes keeping up as you were writing down
a little bit
and
then,
documenting
as a
the
journalist,
stories?
I had more questions, and I didn't know whether to interrupt or not because the stories were so good. So I kind of saved my questions till the end.
Yeah. Have you got all your questions answered at this point?
I always have more because people who get the book will tell me another story.
Yeah.
And I'll say, well, we'll include that in the next one.
Okay, well, that was going to ask that because there needs to be a sequel for Busy for the Lord.
I think you're right.
I think there definitely does. Folks, you can get a copy of Busy for the Lord. You can get it at Grace and Mercy Catholic Gifts, 6425 Line Avenue. That's right there by Superior Grill, or you can get it from the office of St. John Berkman's Cathedral during office hours. And in Bossier City, you can get it from Tubbs Hardware on Benton Road. Say hello to Donnie for us. Back in a moment with Monsignor Earl Provenza and Mary Ann Van Osdell, our life strategist today on Strategies for Living. Be right back.
You to your table, we're keeping it alive with flavors from the family passed down to survive. The Godfather's here with a twist in the tail, alligator Italian sausage, and it sure won't fail. It's the boss of the bayou, a taste you can't refuse. Italian tradition, Cajun infused. Sausage, bold and true. August, bringing the bayou to you.
Get the Godfather, alligator Italian sausage only at Fertitta's Delicatessen, 1124 Fairfield Avenue in Shreveport. Pick up a muffy while you're there. The Godfather, alligator Italian sausage. It's a taste you can't refuse. Sold only at Fertitta's, 1124 Fairfield Avenue in Shreveport. Dealing with stress? Pain? Feel like you're running out of options? When your life is balanced, wellness is a given. True wellness is holistic. It's about the mind, the body, and the spirit, all in balance. Now, there's a place right here in Shreveport that's all about helping us achieve peak mental, emotional, and physical health. The Balanced Life, 117 Kings Highway, right next door to Strawn's. Come see and feel the difference getting your life in balance can be. Many of your friends and neighbors have already learned the difference less stress and pain mean in their lives. You can book a discovery session right now online, thebalancedlife.us. All you've got to lose is stress, pain, or maybe both. Come see and feel for yourself the real difference balanced wellness makes. The Balanced Life Wellness Center, 117 Kings Highway in Shreveport, next door to Strawn's. Thebalancedlife.us. We've got strategies, of course, right here. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillan. We got extra strategies today because of our life strategist, Monsignor Earl Provenza and Mary Ann Van Osdell. They've gotten together and written a wonderful book. It's called Busy for the Lord. It's the life story of Monsignor Earl Vincent Provenza, and you can find it at Grace and Mercy Catholic Gifts on Line Avenue. You can find it at St. John Berkman's Catholic Business Office, Cathedral Business Office. Of course, you got to go during business hours. And over in Bossier, you find it at Tubbs Hardware. Earl Vincent Provenza. Okay, so you go to sign up. To do your duty, sign up for the
draft,
the selective service. And what did the lady tell you?
Well, all my life I wanted to be patriotic, and living in Shreveport, always looking up in the sky,
right?
I see Barksdale planes fly by. So when I reached 18, I thought it was proper for me to go down to the post office, second floor,
right,
and to register. So I walked up, and the lady said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "I'm Earl Provenza. I'm 18 years of age, and I come to register." And she got on her computer, and she turned around and said, "Sir, you don't exist." I said, "Well, look at me. Here I am." So I went home, and I said, "Mother, this is a very delicate, difficult question, but was I adopted?" And she said, "No, you were the biggest baby I had." I said, "Well, they don't have my name down there." She said, "Well, why don't you try Vincent Provenza?" And the story is that when I was born, my daddy wanted to name me after the doctor, Dr. Earl Harris. And my mother had other thoughts. I'm going to name him Vincent. And so the nurse came in, said, "Ma'am, what do you name your baby?" She said, "Vincent Provenza." And so Daddy went home, he's passing out cigars, and his name is Earl. His name is Earl. My mother said, "His name is not Earl. His name is Vincent." Well, Daddy was a little stubborn, and Mother was very persistent. And so for 18 years, I really thought my name was Earl Provenza.
Right.
But it ended up being officially Vincent Provenza. When I went down to the post office to register, she told me, it was a surprise, "You're breaking a law in our country using an alias for 18 years.
I love it.
And so if you don't change your name back, you're going to be in trouble." So I had to write vital statistics in New Orleans, and in white ink, I had to write Earl on the margin, because on the certificate, it said Vincent Provenza. And so
I love it.
that is... my mother won that argument.
I bet she won most of them. Folks, there are story after story after story like that. Now, Mary Ann, you said you've been told stories since the book came out, and hopefully we'll get a sequel to this. What's a story that you can share that you've learned since the book came out?
I'm keeping notes. We went to Zawali, the Catholic church there, on Sunday.
Right, which Monsignor pastored for many years.
For many, they love him. Like, it's
they call him
like
Senior
I've ever
Earl
seen.
down there. Yeah.
So anyway, he said Mass, and then we had a reception, and we had a book signing. And this lady came up to me, and she said, "Did you know he used to run from here to Manny, Louisiana?" I said, "No, I knew he trained for a marathon," which that was surprising to me, first of all.
Right.
But yeah, and people would try to stop and say, "Monsignor, get in the car, get in the car." And he was practicing running, and so he wouldn't get in the car.
I love it. I love it. Monsignor, you know, you've had a book written about you now, and now you've had a song written about you. What is it that, you know, that's a lot of people would love to have a book and a song written about them. But, you know, I know for you, that's little stuff.
Right.
What do you really want people to understand and know about Earl Provenza?
That Earl Vincent Provenza helped people from earth to heaven. That's the basic line, helping people get to heaven. And take the prayers from people on earth, bring them up to the Lord prays back through me. And so that's what I want to be known for. The priests that help people get to heaven.
You've now been a priest
61
years. You just recently celebrated that 61st.
Last Friday,
yeah.
Sure did.
And looking back, you have now the luxury to look back that you didn't have in the first year, the 5th year, the 10th year. Looking back over half a century now, plus. What have you learned? What's the biggest lesson that you've learned about living life?
God is in charge. We are his helpers.
Yeah.
And it should be let go, let God.
Yeah.
He will direct us to the right way.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, your ministry has touched so many people over so many years in so many places, from Shreveport across the state, over east into the Monroe area, and down south all the way to
Rome.
Zwolle.
All the way to Rome.
And all the way to Rome, right?
You're right.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You're in Rome. You and Bishop Friend were in Rome.
Right.
And you said, geez, wouldn't it be good if I could say Mass with the Holy Father?
Would you write a letter? Bishop, I asked that to the bishop.
Right.
Right.
He said, no. That shocked me. He said, you would be more effective. So I went back to the motel room with pencil and paper. I said, dear Holy Father, been a priest at that time 40 years. I helped you come to New Orleans
Right.
when you come visit us.
Right.
And is there any way possible for you to let me celebrate Mass with you this week? And as a two overlap story, there was a priest at the hotel who ran out of money. And he was honest. He said, Father, I'd give anything to have a ticket to go to Assisi. And I said, well, I can help you with that. And over there in Italy, you don't get a refund.
Right.
You buy your ticket.
It's
Yes,
non-refundable.
Yeah.
And so I bought me a ticket and him a ticket. And the next morning, this little Italian nun called and said, I need to talk to Monsignor Provenza. I said, well, you're talking to him. She said, tomorrow morning, you can say Mass with the Pope. I said, sister, I can't. I said, I got a ticket to go to Assisi. You know how dumb I was, you know. It took about 3 seconds. I said, sister, I will definitely get rid of my ticket and have Mass with the Pope. And I went up to St. Peter's, and I was shocked. The MC pulled me up next to the Pope, so close, I could hear him breathing.
Wow.
And it was just an awful feeling.
And today he's a saint.
The saint.
Yeah.
And you were there.
Right there, right next to him.
Wow. All right, busy for the Lord. It's the life story of Monsignor Earl Vincent Provenza. You can get it at Grace and Mercy Catholic Books, Line Avenue, 6425 Line Avenue. You can get it at St. John Berkman's Cathedral Business Office. You can get it at Tubbs Hardware. Please get it. Busy for the Lord. Mary Ann Van Osdell, Monsignor Earl Provenza. We'll be right back to wrap up here on Strategies. Hey, let's talk about the Robinson Film Center. You know, I say it a lot. There's no place like the Robinson.
Absolutely, there is not.
617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. You've got so much. You got the movies. You got Abby Singer's Bistro on the second floor of RFC, open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Saturday.
Newly remodeled.
Absolutely. Great menu. RobinsonFilmCenter.org is the way you check it all out. You can go to RobinsonFilmCenter.org at any time and find out what movies are showing. Here's the deal. You want to join the crowd, join the fun, become a member. When you become a member, you become a star. You get discounts on movies, you get concession upgrades, you get bistro deals. RFC, 617 Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. I'll say it again. There's no place like the Robinson.
There is not, and I'm glad we have one right here.
Absolutely. The RobinsonFilmCenter.org.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Donisa Walker with Learning RX Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending, Learning RX Shreveport offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call Learning RX Shreveport. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does Learning RX Shreveport.
And welcome back into Strategies for a Living. We've been busy today.
For the Lord.
Well, for the Lord, for Mary Ann, for Monsignor Earl. go get this book, folks. Busy for the
Please
Lord.
do.
The life story of Monsignor Earl Provenza. You can find it at Grace and Mercy Catholic Gifts, at St. John Berkman's Cathedral Business Office, at Tubbs Hardware in Bossier. Mary Ann, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for having us. I
doing
thoroughly
this.
enjoyed it.
And thank you for coming here. But I'm talking about thank you for
the
writing
work,
this
for
book.
writing the book.
This is
You're
beautiful.
welcome. It was the honor of my life.
And Monsignor, I don't have words to thank you for all that you are in all of our lives. You've touched so many lives. You've been a light. You've been a healing presence in our community for many, many years. So thank you from the bottom of a lot of our hearts. Thank you for all that you do and continue to do.
Yes.
And I thank God for my priesthood.
Yes.
I want to close with this. I don't believe in reincarnation. If it does exist, I want to come back as a priest.
Well,
I love my priesthood.
I'm going to tell you what. If it does exist, we want you back as a
Yeah, we
priest.
do. We want
Because
that.
you know,
We would all be better for it.
You've had a pretty good run, and it ain't over yet.
No.
You're still saying Mass at Christ the King most Saturday afternoons at 4:00. Occasionally, you fill in at the base, and you're here and there. You're all over the place. So thank you so much, and folks, thank you. We appreciate you being a part of Strategies for Living. You're the reason that we do this program, and we can do it because of our wonderful sponsors, the Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX, and the Balanced Life Wellness Center, and Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, alligator Italian sausage, and some pretty good muffies, too. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Mary Ann Van Osdell, for Lauren Leon McMillian, for Monsignor Earl Provenza, I'm David McMillan. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.